What's going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome to another FPL video. Today it's slightly different. This is a review of a single game, Leicester versus Fulham. I've thought about doing these in the past and never got round to it. Just don't usually have the time on the weekend, but I'm watching, or I have watched Leicester and Fulham today. It's only about 10 or 20 minutes since it finished, so I wrote down some notes. So I was watching and thought I'd record a little quick video to go through it from an FPL perspective, and especially with Leicester having a game in Game Week 31, which is coming up. Which is a blank game week for a lot of teams. Leicester assets are really in demand right now, so I thought I'd go through kind of what happened, who you should be looking at, were players good, were they bad, etc, etc. So the final score, Leicester 3, Fulham 1. Fulham possibly a little bit lucky to get that goal, but just to go through what happened, 2 goals for Vardy, so if you bought him in this week, fair play, or if you had him as soon as Rodgers came in, fair play, he's done really well since. He also got an assist as well. Tielemans got the other goal, and then the other assists were from Harvey Barnes and James Maddison. And then the goal came for Fulham from Aite. Apologies if I get these pronunciations wrong. And then the assist was from Nordvit. I think he's a central defensive midfielder for Fulham. So the way that goal came, I mean, if you own Leicester defenders, I think you can consider yourself a little bit unlucky. Fulham didn't really create too many chances. In fact, in my notes I've put they were just rubbish. There's no one to look at from their team. They've only beaten teams who are currently in the bottom 6 in the Premier League, and they only get to play one of those teams before the end of the season. I think it's game over for Fulham. I just don't see how they're going to get out of the position they're in. They just look down and out, and the players are playing like it as well. So I really wouldn't want to own Fulham players. I mean, the blank game week game is against Liverpool, and I'm not going to look at many of their players because I don't think anyone's seriously looking at getting them in. They really didn't create too much, but the goal was frustrating for a Leicester defender owners because Nordvik basically got the ball from, I don't know, kind of halfway line-ish, maybe a little bit further back towards the defence, and just popped the ball forward down the right side, Fulham's right side, to where Chilwell was defending. And he just didn't really seem to go for it. I don't think he was goal side. And Aite basically got in. And to be fair to him, once he got in, he was very composed, took it around Maguire. Chilwell couldn't get back on time and just slotted it home. So I feel for you if you're a Ricardo Pereira, a Maguire, Evans, or Chilwell owner, because really should have been 6 points, clean sheets at least, maybe some bonus today. How are they going to fare going forward? I'm not sure. I mean, it's Burnley away, the next blank fixture. I mean, not Harvey Barnes, sorry. Ashley Barnes has been in really good form. Obviously, at the time of recording this, not every game from the game week is finished, so we'll see how they get on. But I can see Burnley scoring. Then it's Huddersfield away, and Huddersfield are really going to be fighting. Do they have any chance of getting too many goals? Probably not. So I can see a clean sheet, I think, in that fixture, in the other blank fixture, game week 33. And then it's Bournemouth at home in 32. But for those of you on free hit strategies, or if you're a wild card in 32, you're probably not going to get too many Leicester defenders. So I think if you've got a defender, you stick with it. Personally, I'm not looking at getting one in. I got Davern in this week, so I'm skipping the Leicester defence. And on today's showing, they've got mistakes in them, and they're a bit of a worry. But yeah, Leicester switched to a 4-2-3-1. Rodgers employed that because there was a bit of worry, at least from myself, after getting Harvey Barnes in, that he wasn't going to play. But him, Gray, and Maddison all started. Gray and Barnes out wide, Gray on the right, Barnes on the left, and then Maddison played as a number 10. And I've not watched a whole lot of Leicester this season under Puel, but there was definitely a clear intent, and I don't know if they've always done this or if it's a Rodgers thing, but a really clear intent, especially in the first half, to press, and they won a lot of balls back from doing that. And what they looked to quickly do was to play Jamie Vardy in. So if you've got Jamie Vardy, I think you're looking good. Gray, I'll come on to certain players in a minute. I wasn't that impressed with Gray. Barnes was okay, not a huge amount better. But Leicester didn't really try and play down the wings all that often. And the fullbacks didn't do a huge amount of attacking either. A lot of it went centrally, and it was the quick ball. If it wasn't Maddison, it was Tielemans or Ndidi for the first goal, trying to play Vardy in. So that happened a lot. They pressed, won the ball back, and just straight away Vardy was on the run. So that's the kind of way they went for it. And then talking about how Fulham did, I barely heard Schmeichel's name mentioned, so they were pretty poor. So I thought I'd go through the players of interest. I'm not going to talk about the likes of Ndidi, although from a defensive point of view, I thought he was quite good, but obviously not good enough to stop them conceding. But thought I'd go through the players who people are looking at from Leicester. So Ricardo at first, didn't really do too much of note, to be honest. A lot of people saying that he's the weak link in the defence, but didn't really get that feeling today. And attacking wise, didn't do much. Ran down a few times, didn't get too many balls in. I've seen him in previous games, quite a bit of assist potential from good crosses, good balls back across the box, but didn't really happen for him today. There was one chance where Maddison played him in from a corner to the edge of the box. He had loads of time to take a shot or put a cross in or do anything apart from what he did, which is basically fluff a shot. Barely made contact. So, like I said, Leicester clean sheets. I just don't know if they're going to come. I wouldn't be buying them right now unless you've got no better options. But yeah, Ricardo just didn't do anything. Chilwell, I thought, was pretty poor, to be honest. He took one free kick from the left, at least one free kick. I think that was it. But Maddison took most of the set pieces, as he does. But he kept giving the ball away a few times. He was at fault for the goal as well. I mean, he's not going to lose his place, I don't think. But attacking-wise, there was a few times where I think his decision-making was a little bit poor. And maybe I'm biased because I'm a Harvey Barnes owner, but he got basically to the byline and then could have just passed back to Barnes, who was in loads of space. But he kept going across the box, which, to be fair, is not a bad tactic. We see lots of fullbacks do that. But the ball just kept being cleared quite easily. So could have maybe had a bit more composure to play in the player in space. But yeah, as attacking as Ricardo, I don't think any of them were, either of them was something to shout about. And obviously defensively, we're just too worried about clean sheets, so not too sure about them. And then centre-backs, I mean, Maguire and Evans didn't really do anything of note. Yes, they're slightly dangerous from set pieces. We've seen Maguire do well in the past from free kicks and corners, and they've probably got as much goal for it as kind of any other standard centre-back in the league. I didn't really see them today doing anything of note. And then coming on to Gray, like I said, I thought he was pretty poor. Before, when we thought they were playing 4-3-3 and it was between Barnes and Gray, if you were looking at this game, I think you'd have to go Barnes. He kept giving the ball away, poor passes. Even though he was playing on the right, he didn't really get in behind that much, didn't really attack the fullback. I will say, from a Fulham point of view, a little bit of a shout out to Brian, the left back, who did close down Gray pretty well. So maybe on another day he gets an easier left back to play against and he does well. But I wasn't impressed with him. He came off early as well. I think it was about the 70th minute. Barnes got 90 minutes. So for me, I think Gray is a clear give him a miss. Coming on to Barnes, my man, I got him in this week. He got a nice assist for Vardy, quite close to the end of the game. He basically won the ball back, was strong enough to not go down, to not let the defender get back in. And when he cut inside, I thought he was going to go for a shot, but he was cool, calm, and passed it to Vardy, and Vardy cleared. So that was really nice. And he did have a save much earlier, I think it was in the second half, earlier in the game, compared to that assist, where Rico, the goalie for Fulham, made a really, really good save. If you're going to watch Match of the Day or the highlights later, you'll see it. But it was a really nice finish from Barnes. Again, cut inside onto his favoured right foot. It was kind of a curled shot into the bottom right corner, his right, Rico's left. And I've seen the camera angle from the back of the goal. It was going in, but Rico got to his hand to it. So, little bit frustrating, but it shows me that he's got that little bit of drive to get to goal and maybe have a shot. Most of the game, he did try. I don't know. He tried a few runs to get past the defender and kind of run into the box and try little mazy runs, but didn't really pay off. He was kind of dispossessed a lot. And because of that, I don't think he's necessarily going to do quite good at bonus. I've just had a quick look at it. I don't know if it's finalised, but Maddison and him both got an assist each. But he got 21 bonus points. Maddison got 30. And it's not just about being dispossessed. Maddison got a lot of the ball, made a lot of passes and stuff like that. But I can see Barnes being a frustrating one to own because he tries these runs but gets dispossessed quite a lot. But if he can get past the defender, he's got a lot of pace. And obviously with Vardy getting into the box, there could be more assist potential. But yeah, he took his assist well. I was quite impressed with him. Would I have him versus Maddison now I've seen this game? Obviously, one game isn't a lot to base it off. And obviously I say one game, they've played more before, but obviously Rodgers is in now and he switched to this 4-2-3-1. Maddison was just central to all their play. Like I said, they kept going through the centre and trying to get that ball into Vardy. Maddison had a few shots. I must admit his shots were pretty poor outside the box, as we know, but a lot of assist potential. So I think between the two, Maddison's probably the safer, maybe more consistent one I could see scoring points. But Barnes is a little bit more exciting, but I can see him also being quite frustrating to watch. So I suppose it depends what you prefer. But yeah, Maddison, like I said, went through the middle, very rarely out wide, kept looking for Vardy. The only thing I will say is Tielemans went off, I think it was in the 70th minute, maybe the 80th. But when he went off, Maddison dropped back and basically played next to Ndidi in a much deeper role. And at that point, he kind of wasn't completely out of the game, but the assist potential kind of dried up a little bit more. I think he got his assist before that change happened. But either way, like I say, he went back when Tielemans come off. But you don't know how often that's going to happen. And when he was on the pitch, I thought, when he was playing in his number 10 position, I thought Maddison was pretty good. So he'd probably be my midfielder of choice. But I will say Tielemans is someone that I've overlooked. People have mentioned him in streams and stuff, and I've been like, nah, I'm looking at Barnes or Maddison. But I was pretty impressed with him. He's a bit of a baller. He does play in the 4-2-3-1. He played as part of the 2, so he's quite deep. But out of him and Ndidi's the one that sits, and Tielemans was getting forward, and he got forward for his goal. That wasn't a free kick or a corner or anything like that. He got forward. Vardy was through. And basically, Vardy very unselfishly just stopped, passed the ball back, and Tielemans took it around the defender and popped it in an open goal. So I was quite impressed with him. Good amount of balls forward. Like I said, they're trying to play centrally, play it through the middle, get Vardy in. And we've already seen him get a few assists. So I think there's a little bit of a differential, although I will say that Leicester players probably aren't massively owned like in the top 10k overall. At least not, to the degrees of the kind of Salahs and Rashfords that we've seen recently. But if you want a differential versus other people who are going for Barnes and more likely Maddison, I think Tielemans looked pretty good. I was impressed. Whether or not he's going to keep coming off early, I don't know. But yeah, when he was on the pitch, looked like a bit of a baller. And I probably got it wrong with him. Overlooked him, got Barnes in, and maybe I should have looked at him a bit more. And then lastly, it's the main man, Jamie Vardy. Like I've already said a million times now, they constantly looking to put him in. You know what he likes. He likes being on the shoulder of the last man, getting the runs in. He was put in 4 or 5, maybe even 6 times in the first half, and should have had more. He got 2 goals, 1 assist, and honestly, I think he could have got more. He looks a rejuvenated player almost, and we've seen him do this before, where a new manager comes in, so he gets a bit annoyed that the old manager stops playing as well, and now I think he's got 5 in 5. Took a chance as well, unselfish for the first, like I already said. But yeah, could have had more. Obviously, he's on penalties as well, so if they get any penalties over the blanks, could be looking good there. He's kind of the same price as Higuain, so he's the one we're going to be looking at later this weekend when Chelsea play Wolves to see how he does. But when you get 2 goals and assists, it's hard to look past him. But what I will say is it was Fulham. Leicester probably won't get an easier game for the rest of the season. And it is Burnley away and Huddersfield away. So 2 away games over the blanks. And yes, they scored 3 goals, but I'm just not sure if they're going to get 3 against the likes of Burnley and Huddersfield. Maybe they will. Maybe this switch to 4-2-3-1 will really help them out. But it ain't going to get much easier than Fulham. So I'm not sure I'd be overloading on them. I'm got one more move to make, which would probably be Aguero to Higuain or Vardy. So that means Vardy and Barnes double up, or Higuain and Hazard double up. So I'm going to see how Higuain does today, this weekend. I think the Wolves game will be tough, but we'll see how Chelsea get on. And I think Chelsea played Everton in one of their blank game weeks, and Everton have just conceded 3 goals to Newcastle. So not discounting Higuain just yet, but Vardy looks really good. So that's kind of a look at all their players. Hopefully let me know what you think about this. I've not done it like this before. Obviously got quite a few notes to go through. And just it's kind of like the eye test, what I've seen in the game and what I thought. And yeah, the players that impressed me and the players that didn't. Barnes looked okay. I think Maddison and Vardy are absolutely the two probably best attackers. Tielemans, though, definitely going probably under the radar a bit. And defensively, I just don't think you're getting them in right now. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of these kind of videos. I'll try and do them as I watch other games over this weekend, next weekend, or whatever it might be. If you did enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. Much appreciated as always. Subscribe if you are new around here. And I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers all.